So by now you're aware that Chris Rock was slapped by Will Smith in the face, and a lot of people have talked about this. So we've heard things like, Chris Rock isn't brave for not striking back because what other choice did he have? I know, given the setting, I agree. Why didn't Will Smith just go up to him and later after the show and say, hey man, ... or hey, I'm gonna fight you now, or I'm gonna slap you in the head, instead of doing it in front of everybody where he probably knew Chris Rock was not gonna strike back. Should a man just simply get side-eye from his woman and that be enough to go and try to humiliate a person in public? Doesn't this speak of a privilege for Will Smith that we're not willing to talk about because we're also consumed with the so-called white privilege that seems to be on the lips of everyone else? All of these things have been said. And so I don't know that I have much to add to that other than to just say the one thing that I don't think I've heard talked about very much is something that I do believe we need to speak a little bit more openly about. So I don't know that I've got a lot more to say other than to just say this. Nothing is as common as a spoiled and entitled man thinking he can do whatever he wants without regard to the consequences. And that's exactly what we saw on display when Will Smith went in front of everybody and slapped Chris Rock in the face. I don't think there's anything very great about Chris's response or Will Smith's response in this. By the way, just to say that he was trying to defend his wife's honor, well, he should probably be doing that in his own marriage before he tries to be a spectacle in front of everybody else and do that because Chris Rock said a very meaningless joke, which, by the way, if you don't know by now, he did not know at the time that Jada Smith had alopecia, so he wasn't trying to make fun of that fact. He was just making fun of her hairstyle, which is very common in these kind of events. I mean, look at Ricky Gervais, for crying out loud, and the way that he just absolutely schooled everybody and the Screen Actors Guild awards in the past. But nonetheless, nothing is as common as this kind of spoiled behavior coming out of Hollywood. It's not rare. These guys just typically don't do it in front of the camera. We all know that this exists. But there is something that was kind of rare. A humble man, when given the chance to strike back, chooses not to. Now, let me be very clear, because I posted this on social media, and almost nobody actually read the post. So I think this is the real problem in the midst of speaking out. For those of us who are the silent majority, we are so used to not speaking actively and effectively and intellectually on this topic that we sometimes stick our foot in our mouth. So I get it. But sometimes you got to stick your foot in your mouth before you can finally get around to actually saying something worthwhile. But most of the people who responded to what I posted about this missed the fact that I was not talking about Chris Rock not responding to the slap immediately with like maybe throwing fists or maybe slapping Will back. No, I'm talking about a turning of the cheek that's vastly different than that. I'm talking about the fact that when Chris Rock had the opportunity behind the stage to press charges and get Will Smith thrown out of the Oscars ceremony, he did neither of those things. Now, why? Probably because Chris understood that Will did something that was stupid and that he probably will learn to regret. Probably, too, because Chris Rock was pretty aware of the fact that King Richard was a good movie. It was a good movie, by the way, and that Will Smith was probably going to win an award, and he didn't want to take that from Will Smith. So, that being said, that kind of behavior is incredibly rare and does deserve to be mentioned because it is so rare. Because we can speak out about the bad behavior of Will Smith, and I think that that's totally valid. But I don't hear a lot of people speaking up about the good behavior of Chris Rock. Now, I don't know if Chris Rock is a Christian, and I don't suppose that he didn't choose to press charges or to have Will Smith thrown out of the Oscars simply because he was a Christian. But I would say that what Chris Rock did there is echoing a teaching that is firmly placed in Scripture. And that teaching is what Jesus said when he said, turn the other cheek. Now, Jesus isn't saying, hey, if you attack my daughter, have my other daughter. Or, hey, if you shoot me in one leg, I'll give you the other leg to shoot. Jesus was clearly talking about something that was not very hurtful, but something that was more kind of an assault on your pride or an assault on your feelings. And boy, do we need to hear this today. So when Jesus said, turn the other cheek, what he was saying is if somebody just merely slaps you on one cheek, don't let your pride get in the way and you think you have to retaliate. Just give them the other cheek because it's not something that's really going to hurt you at the end of the day. It's more about your pride. And Jesus just merely says, just turn the other cheek and don't respond to that stuff. Don't merely respond out of your pride. So that's kind of the teaching of of Jesus here. And he's indicting all of us, by the way, because all of us respond pridefully to all sorts of things. And Jesus is saying, hey, yeah, there's another way. And I can help you if you want, but just saying. So Jesus there is giving a clear directive about what to do when somebody insults you or when somebody does something against your own pride or your ego. Just turn the other cheek, walk on. And this is exactly what Chris Rock did. And this is why I think we need to speak about this kind of stuff. So when Chris Rock chose not only retaliate, I don't think that that's very Christian. I think like he was probably so shocked he was thinking to himself, what in the world just happened? But not that. But when he had the opportunity to say, I don't want to take away this man's moment. He's been waiting probably for most of his career, if not all of his career, to stand up before all these people and accept this reward. And so he didn't want to take that from him. And then after the fact, when he could have pressed charges, he chose not to, and not to have Will arrested. So this is good behavior. But here's the biggest thing about all of this, is that we don't get to unearth that kind of thing if we obey the kind of extortion that's going on right now with, oh, don't talk about this, or everybody's talking about it. I mean, why do we continue to talk about it? And then these people pretend as though somebody, an actor, on live TV slaps another person in front of millions of other people watching at home and at the studio, a combined millions of other people, and then we're supposed to not talk about this. This is what I kept on hearing all throughout all of this thing. Why is this such a big deal? Why are we talking about it? Don't get distracted by this. I think, yeah, maybe not get distracted about it, but talk about it. Yes, why? Because in the midst of talking about it, we can think about reactions, ideas, and things that took place in that moment and after the fact that I think truly will help us evolve as a society and help us think deeply about these things. So as I started to think about this, I thought to myself, when I come back from break, I want to talk about this. I know everybody's talked about this, but very few people I hear talking about Chris Rock's, I think, noble behavior. You can catch brand new episodes of Indie Thinker with Reed Huberman every Monday and weekly bonus episodes to keep you thinking throughout the week. But you have to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new episodes drop. If you enjoy this content, make sure to like this video and share it with friends.